Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So today's episode comes to you courtesy of my incredible patrons. Once a month, patrons vote on what Commander they want to see in an upcoming episode, and the Commander gets the most votes wins. And the Commander for this month is Mr. Foxglove. I love this pick. A very spicy, very fun Commander. A 3/5 Fox Rogue with lifelink for 5 mana and Bant. Whenever it attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in a defending player's hand minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand right onto the battlefield. So either draw potentially an amazing amount of cards, right? Again, like let's say you've got 0, they got 7, congratulations, brand new hand, or maybe even more if they've got no maximum hand size. Or, hey, you know what? Okay, we're already at the amount of cards we need. Let's just cheat into play something absolutely massive. And for this deck in particular, we are building around creatures that give us so much value right away. Some massive ETBs to use and abuse in many different ways. And we are doing so on a very reasonable budget. According to MGG Goldfish, around $27 for this deck. Make sure you check out this deck list link in the description below. With all that said, let's jump into the tactics. So let's start things off with tactic number 1, come out swinging, and swing we shall right away. Out of the gate, actually. Look at that joke right there. Crashing drawbridge. Get it? Okay. Anyways, a 0/4 wall with defender for 2 mana. Tap creature control, gain haste until end of turn. So with this, with our commander, again, being able to swing right away can be a massive benefit for us. Again, being able to just swing on the turn our commander comes out, cool. Do so and all of a sudden cheat something into play right away, get a massive impactful play. And of course, we do have plenty of ramp. We'll get to that here in a bit where we can cast some massive things as well. Just being able to grant haste to our team can be incredible so we can swing with some massive creatures, even the ones that we're hard casting too. Cloak of the Bat is a great card to help us hastily help our commander as well. Gives it flying too, so again, another great way to get it through and swing right away. Play Feather Centers does the exact same thing, like literally the exact same card, just has a different name. Ring of Valkus, another great low to the ground card. Again, this is not a red deck. That's okay. We do not care about that. What we care about is it gives haste and has equip 1. Ignore the whole, counter on a red creature. Who cares? And then finally, Haunted Cloak, another great low to the ground equip cost. Just costs 1 to equip. Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Again, we might have a big heavy hitter we want to put this on, or if it is the turn we get our commander out, we're like, oh, I want to swing right away. Get it on your commander, swing right away, and all of a sudden, again, cheat something massive in play. Moving on, tactic number 2, protect the king, and we shall do that with a card like Anara Volvid Familiar. As long as it's your turn, commanders you control have indestructible. So actually utilizing a card like this is fantastic, just to say, you know what, commander, you're fine. All right, on the turn, we're just going to swing with you, and then swing with you, and then swing with you, turn after turn after turn, to ensure that we don't care what we are swinging into. It doesn't matter who we're swinging at, our commander is going to be just fine, survive in combat so that we can keep using and abusing its amazing effect. Aegis Angel is another way to help our commander out as well, and one that can help out on the fly. A 5/5 Flying Angel for 6 mana, enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Aegis Angel. So again, a great ETB for us to say, oh, I cheat this into play, and then all of a sudden, my commander now is indestructible, so it can survive in combat. Eagle of Deliverance, another great way to help our commander out as well. 5/5 Bird Soldier with flying for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, put an indestructible counter on the target creature you control. Draw a card that creature's power is 2 or less. We're not going to be drawing that card, but again, getting that indestructible counter on our commander can be a fantastic way to perpetually protect it. Subjugator Angel is yet another cool way to really help out our team. A 4/3 Angel with flying for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, tap down all creatures your opponents control, meaning that, well, not only is our commander going to be protected in combat by being able to get through, but our entire team will as well. This could be a game-ending card for us. Next up, Dawnglade Regent, an 8/8 elk for 7 mana, protects in a different way, enters the battlefield to become the Monarch, so that's some great potential card advantage for us because, yeah, we're going to be an aggressive deck. We're going to be swinging a lot. We're going to be keeping that Monarch crown. As long as you're the Monarch, permanents you control have Hexproof, so a great way to protect everything that we have, essentially, with that Hexproof. And then finally, Rumbleweed, 8/8 Plant Elemental for 11 mana in total. But again, we can just cheat things in play very easy with our commander, and also cost 1 less cast for each land card in your graveyard, so we can get some reduction there too. Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Yes, a heavy hitter for us. And on top of that, enters the battlefield. Other creature control at +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. So a great way to pump our commander to potentially a level that our opponents cannot take it out in that combat. Or just, again, like late game, be like, oh, great finish for us. Pump our entire team basically with an overrun effect. Moving on to tactic number 3, blink and miss it. With this tactic, we've got, well, multiple benefits from blinking things. Again, we've already talked about protecting our commander, which we can with something like Abuelo, but also we can use and abuse our amazing ETBs. A 2/2 Spirit with Flying and Ward, 2 for 3 mana. By paying 3 mana in total, exile target creature or artifact you control, bring it back to the battlefield under the soldier's control to begin next end step. Basically, again, a way to say, hey, commander, you did your job attacking, getting that trigger. Let's make sure you don't die in combat. Or again, oh, I've got this amazing giant ETB. Let's just pay 3 mana and get that again. Next up, Gilrayan Dundian Protector, a 2/3 Human Noble for 3 mana in total. Pay 2 tap. Exile target creature control, bring it right back, or bring it back at the end step, and all of a sudden it comes back with a Vigilance lifelink counter on it. So either way, a lot of value to be had. Get that ETB value right away, or protect our commander, or yeah, just hey, you know what? We've got a big, massive card out there. We got a big, massive creature. Maybe we'd like to give it Vigilance and lifelink while we also use and abuse its ETB. Speaking of which, Guardian of Girapor, a 3/3 Angel of Flying for 3 mana, enters the battlefield, blink 1 artifact or creature control, bring it back at the end step. So again, this is a great way to utilize those ETBs. Or yeah, if we want to just cheat this into play, blink our commander, just set ourselves up for something else, we can. Restoration Angel, even more flashy for us. Get it? 3/4 Flash Angel with Flying for 4 mana and white. Enters, exile target non-angel creature control, bring it right back to the battlefield. So again, protects in combat, or just a very easy way to use and abuse an ETB. Salvation Swan, very similar, a 3/3 Flash Flying Bird Cleric. Basically, when this comes into play, or another bird, we get to blink something without flying, bring it back, give it a flying counter at the beginning of the end step. So again, a way to protect our commander, and also a way to protect it further in combat by giving it flying so it can get through usually. Or yeah, to say, you know what? Got this massive ETB on this creature. Let's use and abuse that, and also give it evasion. Lovely. Semester's End, though, oh my goodness. The impact of this can be huge. Instant for 4 mana and white. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. Bring them all back at the end step, and then they all come back with additional counter on them. All of a sudden, basically, your creatures go away, they come back, they get all their ETBs, and also on top of that, they come back slightly larger too. Yorion Sky Nomad, an amazing one to blink itself. Yeah, if we've got other blink effects, we want to blink this one so it can blink our entire team again and again and again. A 4/5 Flying Bird Serpent for 5 mana and Azorius enters the battlefield, exile any number of other target non-land birds you control, bring them back at the beginning of the next end step, and then finally, Wispweaver Angel, very simple, very effective, 4/4 Angel of Flying for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, exile target creature control that returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. So again, very simple, very effective. Blink our commander to save it, or hey, you know what? Let's blink that massive ETB over there. Moving on to tactic number 4, away with you. Yeah, again, we sent some of our own creatures away to have them come back, but now we're sending our opponent's things away with something like Brutalizer Exarch, a 3/3 Cleric for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, choose 1, search life for a creature card, reveal, put it on top of your library. So again, a way to just say, you know what? A massive creature that we really, really want is going to be, well, just right there for us to get very, very shortly. And then all of a sudden, yeah, next turn, we're going to be cheating to play. Or even on the same turn if we've got some draw as well. Or put target non-creature permanently bottom of its owner's library. So yeah, a way to say, hey, you know what? This ETB, this time I'm going to say goodbye to one of your best permanents and just get rid of it pretty much permanently. Next up, Dream Eater, 4/3 Flash Flying, Nightmare Sphinx for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield, Surveil 4, so some nice card selection there. On top of that, though, when you do, bounce target non-land permanent opponent controls back to its owner's hand. So this is a great way to say, you know what? How about not right now? Duplicate, another great way to remove something, though permanently this time. 2/4 Shapeshifter with Imprint. Enters, we exile target non-token creature, so goodbye creature. As long as it's exiled, it's a creature card. Duplicate has that power, toughness, and creature type. And as the last one, it's still Shapeshifter. So again, if you just keep blinking it, you might be able to get another one, or another one, or another one, whatever you need to do. Moving on, Tolar's Huntmaster. This one can help us out in a lot of ways. A 6/6 human werewolf for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield to get 2/2/2 wolves. On top of that, though, when this flips over, we get Tolar's Pack Leader. 7/7 enters or attacks, make 2/2/2 wolves. So yeah, we can flood the board with a lot of tokens very quickly. On top of that, pay 4 mana in total. Another target wolf or werewolf you control fights our creature you don't control. So yeah, a great way to take some things out. Angel of the Ruin, speaking of taking things out, oh my goodness, takes out so many things. A 5/7 Angel flying for 7 mana. Enters the battlefield, takes up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. You can also plane cycle away early if you need to. Enigma Thief, yet another great Sphinx for us to help out when it comes to removing things. A 5/5 Sphinx Rogue with Prowl. Sure, that's nice. But more importantly, hey, enters the battlefield for each opponent. Return up to 1 target non-land permanent the player controls back to its owner's hand. So a great one to use and abuse again and again and again with those blink effects. Speaking of which, Illuminate Primordial. Yeah, this is hypercharged when it comes to getting rid of a lot of things. A 4/7 Avatar Vigilance for 7 mana in total. Enters the battlefield for each opponent. Eggs up to 1 target creature that player controls, and that player gains life equal to its power. Basically, Swords to Plowshares, all the things. Meteor Golem, very simple, very effective. 3/3 Golem for 7 mana. ETB, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Phyrexian Ingester, very simple to duplicate, essentially. A 3/3 Phyrexian Beast for 7 mana. Enters the battlefield, get rid of target non-token creature, gets +X+Y, where X the exile creature's power, and Y is its toughness. Basically, hey, how big was that creature? Let's add 3. Then there's Soul Emancipation, basically a Terrastodon. Yeah, we've got another Terrastodon coming up here in a second. But yeah, a 5/7 Avatar for 7 mana. Enters the battlefield, start to 3 target other non-land permanents. For each of those permanents, its controller creates a 3/3 white angel controller with flying, so a great way to get rid of some pesky permanents. Hoverguard Sweepers, a 5/6 flyer, ETB, bounce 2 creatures back to those hands, and kind of like I mentioned, Terrastodon, of course. 9/9 Elephant for 8 mana in total, so a massive threat for us. On top of that, ETB to start to 3 target non-creature permanents. All those basically become elephants, so here's your elephants. Goodbye to your best permanents. And then finally, Woodfall Primus, a 6/6 Trampling Treefolk Shaman for 8 mana in total. ETB, destroy target non-creature permanent, and this has persist, so it can do it again when it gets taken out. Moving on to tactic number 5, though, lend a hand. And yeah, we've got some creatures that can help out with that. Very simple, very effective. Mold Drifter, a 2/2 elemental with flying for 5 mana in blue. Comes into play, draw 2 cards. You can also evoke it if you just want to do that. Then there's All-Seeing Arbiter, 5/4 Avatar flying for 6 mana in total. Enters the battlefield or attacks, draw 2 cards, discard a card. So some repeatable card advantage there. On top of that, whenever discarding a card, target creature opponent controls gets -X/-0 to your next turn. X the different number of mana values among cards in your graveyard, which again, we've got a ton of those, so yeah, we can really nerf some creatures quite easily. Imrep the Lustrous, this one just keeps giving and giving and giving throughout the game. A 6/6 Flying Dragon for 6 mana in total. Another permanent enters the battlefield to control the top card of your library. There's a card type of that permanent. You reveal that card, put it in your hand. So yeah, basically, hey, oh, you play land. Oh, there's land on top. Great, that's in my hand. Oh, I cheated a creature to play. Oh, there's a creature. Great. Free card advantage throughout the game. Curator of Destiny is yet another great Sphinx for us. 5/5 Sphinx, can't be countered flying. Enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library, separate them into face-down piles. Essentially, your face-down pile and a face-up pile, I should say. Opponent chooses one of them, and then all of a sudden we get the other one in our hand. So they might make the right choice, they might not, you never know. Prime Seeker Zagana, a 1/1 for Wizard for 6 mana in total. Enters with X counters on or XC greatest power among other creatures we control. So basically it becomes the biggest creature we control because it's that +1. On top of that, we draw cards equal to its power on ETB. So yeah, you can draw an absurd amount of cards with this. And again, we've got blink effects too, just a use and abuse that effect. Yet another Sphinx with the Sphinx of Enlightenment. 5/5 Sphinx with flying for 6 mana. Enters the battlefield, target opponent draws a card, you draw 3 cards. So yeah, a great way to say, hey, let's make a deal. Do you want a card? I'll give you 1 card, okay? I'm gonna get 3 of those still. Delivering Primordial, oh my goodness, the amount of value you get out of this is crazy. 5/5 Avatar with flying, enters the battlefield. For each opponent, you may cast up to 1 target instant source card from that player's graveyard, paying its mana cost. Spell cast away, put a graveyard, exile it instead. And to give you a quick little hint right here, if your opponents have any blink effects themselves, or any clone, effects essentially that are in sorceries in their graveyard, make sure you use those, because you can just keep getting this again and again and again. So much value to be had. And again, even if you're not doing that, still casting 3 things for free on ETB, yeah, sign me up for that. Yet another Sphinx, you're going to see a little pattern here. A 5/5 Sphinx of flying for 7 mana, enters the battlefield, draw cards, equal number of opponents you have, so again, 3, and you can also pay 4 mana and make a 1/1 Thopter of flying if you'd like to. Sphinx of Bethune, 5/6 Sphinx with flying, enters the battlefield, basically back your fiction. 2 piles again, and then all of a sudden you get 1 in your hand, the other in your graveyard. Thought Monitor, a 2/2 construct, defending for artifacts. You can actually cast this for a lot less if you have artifacts in play. Flying, ETB, draw 2 cards. And then finally, Tashana, Voice of Thunder, can be a huge heavy hitter for you. Star, power toast equal number of cards in your hand, which again can be massive. No maximum hand size, lovely. On top of that, enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control. A great ETB to use and abuse. But now let's move on to tactic number 6, helping hands. First up, Steam! Steve! Sorry, Steve. Yeah, we're just gonna have you come into play, and then we're gonna sacrifice you most likely at the end of the, before our turn, essentially. And go get a basic land, basically rampant growth on a body. Sorry, Steve. Farhaven, Elf, a 1/1 ETB. Go get that basic and play, tap, then shuffle. And again, this is an ETB, so keep in mind, we can use and abuse it. Like, Springland Druid, 1/1, basically a Harrow on a body, but the land's gonna play, tap. So more like Roiling Regrowth, I guess. Sacrifice 1 land, get 2 basics, gonna play, tap. Primeval Herald, 3/1 with trample, enters the battlefield or attacks. Go get that basic land on the battlefield, tap. So yeah, repeatable ramp for us. Greater Tanuki, another great card for us. A 6/5 trampling and shape creature dog for 6 mana, or you can channel it away if you need to out of your hand to go get that basic land. Regal Behemoth, my goodness, the potential for this one in this deck. 5/5 trampler, enters the battlefield to become the Monarch, and again, Monarch can be a lot of juicy card advantage for us. On top of that, though, whenever you tap a land for mana while you're the Monarch, you get 1 extra mana of any color. So yeah, basically double up your land advantage. Overwhelmed Hydra, speaking of a land advantage, Star Reach, power dust, each number of lands you control is going to be huge. It can be absolutely huge throughout the game. Enters the battlefield, go get a basic land for the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And finally, Beanstalk Giant, either cheat into play, with your commander and say Star, power dust, equal number of lands you control, or sure, go get that Fertile Footsteps, which is going to be a basic land on the battlefield, tap for that 3 mana, or do both. I mean, you can't really cheat into play from, exile, but yeah, cast it, then recast it. You're going to get a lot of lands. We already talked about some ways to get lands. We're going to be talking about some more here. Next up, tactic number 7, ramp it up. First up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble, pay 2 tap, sacrifice, get a basic land to play, tap, and a fantastic turn 1 play. Speaking of which, Fawn of Fertility, do the exact same thing, but basically as an enchantment. Then there's Rampant Growth, the OG. 2 mana, get a basic land into play, tap. Edge Realm does the exact same thing if you got 4 fewer lands. If you don't, sure, you can cycle it away by sacrificing a land to replace it, which can be fantastic late game. Grow from the Ashes, another great card for us. Kicker 2, if you want to get 2 basics into play, untap for 5 mana, great. If not for 3, go get 1. Harrow, always 3 mana. Sacrifice 1 land, get 2 basics in play, untapped. Roiling Regrowth, the exact same thing, but those lands come into play tapped instead. Search for Morrow can cost us 3 mana, but more than likely, we would love to get this down. Turn 1, suspend 2 for a single green mana. Basic land into play, untap. Migration Path, go get a Roiling Regrowth. Well, but even better. I mean, it's not even Roiling Regrowth, basically. It is just an Explosive Vegetation. Go get 2 basics into play, tapped, or you can cycle away if you need to. Vastwood Surge, another great Explosive Vegetation type card. Kicker for 4. If you do that, all of a sudden you get that Explosive Vegetation. On top of that, some counters on your creatures too, to be exact. And finally, Verdant Mastery. Well, if you want to pay just 4 mana, that's fine. Go get 4 basics, and opponent gets 1 of them to play tapped. You get 2 into play tapped, and you get to get 1 in your hand. Or if you pay the full 6 mana, you get all 4 of those lands, 2 to play tapped, and 2 in your hand. And speaking of lands, finally, tactic number 8, great lands. First up, Access Tunnel, a great one to help us out. It can tap for a cost, pay 3, tap and target creature power 3 less. Can't be blocked this turn. Keep in mind that our commander, well, has 3 power, so it's a great way to get our commander through just on a land. And of course, finally, Rogue's Passage. Taps for a cost, pay 4, tap target creature can be blocked this turn. So again, yeah, get your commander through, which can be great. But also, yeah, that giant creature, maybe like a Terrastodon that you have in play now that you cheat to play, let's also get that through instead. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.